Hi everyone, this is Chris Kaler, founder and developer of True Quantum Healing. True Quantum Healing is by far the most comprehensive and up-to-date healing modality on the planet, dealing with today's issues such as chemtrails, government involvement, alien technology, and more. Within this video, I will explain how to use a chart system to achieve the highest possible answers and root causes of all disease and illness. So sit back, relax, and enjoy True Quantum Healing. Let's get started. Within the set, there are two sets of charts. There's a main book, and there's also a smaller book that we'll get into as we go. Within the first page of the main book, we have listed here, it's called the self chart. And these are all just different specific possibility areas within the body. For instance, there is the dream self, and there's also an area called the sleep self, which I work quite a bit in. So any one of these may be a possibility of where a problem exists within a person. And then moving forward is the letter chart. Now this letter chart is very, very important, and is probably one of the hardest charts for anyone to have to learn. The letter chart will spell things out and give you a confirmation possibly on an answer, or bring you to a higher level of where you need to be. So for instance, the question, what problem do I need to work on with it in this person? And then the letter chart, for me, it'll start to spell out the problem is within the gallbladder, within the liver, and it'll say the stressor, and they may confirm an answer that we had found within the stressor charts. So the letter chart is very, very important. It is, again, one of the hardest charts to learn to use, but once you really get into it, it is something that can be very beneficial for you. Next is the question chart. Now, in dowsing, the question is more important than the answer. If you ask the right question, you get the right answer. So these are just basically a list of possible questions that could get you into the right direction. And then is the master chart. The master chart has basically everything within it, every area of the body, and it also goes to some subcharts, chart 1 and 2, which are all just different possibility areas of the body. There's physical, there's spiritual, there's etheric possibilities within these charts. So for instance, the master chart may send you to the aura charts, which are further down the line here. So the master chart is definitely something you would use on an ongoing basis within the client. And then chart 1 is just another master. It's a sub of a master chart. This one contains DNA, chromosomes, various other areas of the body, and same with chart number 2. As you can see, I do a lot of my own changes and writing within the charts to facilitate different problems that I come up with on a daily basis. Now, we're going to go into the charts called the to-do charts. These are all charts that will give you possibly a heads up of what you need to do for that person. Sometimes there's an entity or a consciousness involved that we need to work around one way, shape, or form. And these to-do charts just might do that, kind of get you in the back door. For instance, revoke a vow, let's see, work on the chakras. They'll give you that heads up that you need to go to this certain area. And if you're having trouble dowsing with somebody trying to find the right answer, sometimes the to-do charts will give you the right direction. So there is 1, 2, and 3 of the to-do charts. Now the stressor charts. This is basically the meat and potatoes of the whole system. Within the stressor charts is basically almost every possibility imaginable that could be within a health problem, spiritual problem, entity problem, etc. So the subcharts go from 1 to 18. Mine go to 19. I added an extra chart, and they will just basically give you direction as to what chart to look at in order to find the problem. And then after that, these are the virus charts. Self-explanatory. Many different viruses are within the body, and these are all the possibilities. There are 5 different virus charts. And then of course after that is the bacteria charts. Pretty much the same, all different types of bacteria. Again, I like to add my own words. Chemtrail bacteria seems to be a very big component that I work with. So the bacteria chart's very important. And then we get into the aura charts. Now within the aura charts, there's going to be a lot of terminology here that you may not quite understand, okay? Which is all right, because sometimes, you know, this consciousness is going to know what you're talking about, what this is, and you just need to go along with it. So if there is any question as to what the terminology, feel free and contact me, and I will certainly let you know exactly what it all means. So somebody who takes Reiki, they may only work within maybe 8 of the auric bodies, whereas I've got 3 charts full of different possibilities of the aura or the energy within the energy of the body. So they're all just possibilities. The chakra chart, we go from the 0 chakra. The 0 chakra is a very important chakra a lot of people don't know about. This is the chakra located 1 foot below your feet, which acts as a grounding chakra. And we go from 1 to 14, and then we also look at all the layers. The chakra has 7 layers, so this shows you all the different layers. And of course, it could be the entire system, even a minor chakra. If there's a minor chakra, you can ask what area in the body is the minor chakra and then address it that way. Then we go into all of the areas of the body, and all of the areas of the body are taken out of the anatomy book that is sent with the course, and you can refer to that book whenever something comes up so you can see what it does and what it is. So we have the skeletal system, the urinary system, the nervous system, cardiovascular, endocrine, muscular system, respiratory, digestive, lymph and immune, skin, reproductive, auditory, and visual. All the systems of the body are here. So basically anything you need to find is going to be right here. There's certain things that aren't in here. They're kind of missed. The human body book doesn't have everything, so sometimes you need to do a little bit of research on your own on the internet to find out what area of the body could be there, which is just going to help you to learn a little bit more. So that is the first book. Let's go to the second book. Now the second book is really interesting because in this book you can use it to confirm a lot of your answers. You can use it as another tool, such as the first page is levels. Now what I like to use the level page for is to ask possibly about minerals in the body or vitamins or nutrients. So you can ask what is the level of calcium within the person's body, and it'll show you non-existent, extremely low, borderline low, etc. And you can tell what mineral level somebody may have. So that page is very helpful. Here's another interesting page that might help you to get over a hurdle. And this is the command page. This page has different possibilities of commands, different suggestions: strengthen, repair, unlock. So if the word unlock comes along, you could go to your master charts and say, what area do I need to unlock within this person? And that'll help you down another road, possibly get to the answer a little faster. And of course there is the standard yes and no chart. That is self-explanatory. Now this is a nice easy chart. It's called the general area chart, and this just whittles down all the areas of the body into their general positions: feet and toes, ankles, abdomen, upper back, etc. So that gives you a quicker possible look at what area of the body you might have to work in. Percentage chart is one I like to use instead of the yes and no chart, because it gives you a better range of yes and no, let's say. So you can ask, how good is a certain supplement for this person? Instead of saying, is this supplement good, and it's saying yes or no, this will tell you on a percentage basis how good it is. Ultimately, you want to have something within the 75 to 100 range of how good it is for somebody. So if it says it's only 25% good, then you know you don't want to use that supplement for somebody. And you can use a percentage chart for many other things also. Numbers chart, self-explanatory, just general numbers if you need to find a number. Now the implant chart here is again just suggestions of what type of implant could be within a person's body. insomnia implants, physical malfunction implants, various different implants, and all possibilities. Here is all the meridians within the body, which is, again, self-explanatory. Different suggestions of different types of radiation. So if, on the charts, the stressor charts, chart 4 says that you need to look at the radiation charts, then you would come to this chart and find out what type of radiation is causing the health problem within the person. Now we're going to go to parasite charts. Parasites are always a very big problem within people. When I do live blood analysis in my clinic, I often find that there are parasites causing a health problem. So again, this is just a list of many different types of parasites. You may want to go a little further to find different names, different forms of parasites, but this basically has 99% of all the necessary parasites. Now, we're going to go to the next one, which is called the problems page. This page is very helpful. I use it quite often. And again, it's another way to get in, to find the answer, to go in the back door, maybe sideswipe an entity and trick it when you're asking the question. So let's say this person has a migraine. So you would ask the question, what type of problem is the migraine problem? And you might get that it's a muscular problem, a radiation problem, and that'll, again, will give you another avenue to go down. So let's say it says for migraine that it's a radiation problem. I generally then go to the letter chart and ask what is the radiation problem, and it'll spell it out. So that's why the letter chart is very important to utilize all the other charts with. So the problems charts, and there's 2 of them. And again, with me, I write a lot of my own new findings within there. Now, the next set of charts is the heal with charts. So when you were healing somebody, you might want to add a specific energy to heal with them with it, okay? So these are all suggestions. And again, if you don't understand exactly what they are, you might be able to look them up on the internet and find them, or you can always send an email and ask about them, okay? So there are 2 different heal with charts. Now, on the heal with charts, there is a suggestion for musical notes, and these are all different musical notes, and they also even gives the do, ra, mi, fa, the entire range of what they are. Don't ask me to sing them because you don't want to hear it, okay? So again, I've written down also frequency of 428, Salvaggio tones, etc. So you can use these by adding the musical note into the causal body or wherever you dowse to find out where the body needs it. And then we get into minerals. Now, the mineral charts are the periodic table of elements. So basically every mineral, every element is within these charts, and the basic ones are on the front chart, so they're a lot easier to find. And there are 3 charts within there. Now, the DNA and cells charts are very helpful. They work very well. The first chart is going to show you all the areas of the DNA and also different types of cells. Okay, so it'll give you a direction of where you need to work. Don't be concerned with working in the DNA is a hard thing to do. It is just an area of the body. You add intent and you can make changes within a person's DNA to certain degrees anyways. So there's the DNA and cells. Now here's the cell structure. When you break down a cell, you have the nucleus, you have the cytoskeleton, all the different areas of the cell. And again, this is all within the Human Body book, provided with the course that you can refer to see what they are. And here's a list of all the different pairs of chromosomes. Remember, when you work with chromosomes, you work with pairs of chromosomes. 1 to 23, X and Y, and even put in the 3rd strand in my book, okay? And this, same as the to-do charts, this is the DNA to-do. This will give you some heads up or some suggestions on what you need to do for the DNA. This is, something very out there, very high up in how to do and work with the DNA. So this may suggest to unstitch the DNA, which means what? That is something that I developed, and I could certainly help you with understanding that and working with it if the time ever comes. So these will all give you some ideas on what you might need to do for the DNA. And then again, you can go to the letter chart and confirm it in certain ways. Now, the emotions charts. These charts are quite lengthy. There's 11. It says 12, but there's actually only 11. I got a little carried away making the charts. The emotion charts are unique because you can use them in two different ways. One is that you can find the emotion that might be controlling the health problem or involved with the health problem. And also the emotions charts have words that could lead you in different ways to ask a question. So let's say I go for the emotion charts to see what is happening, and it shows me the word distressed. What that means to me is that I need to ask the question, what area in the body is distressed? So the emotion charts you can use in an emotional capacity, also in a guidance capacity, to send you in the right direction. And that is it for the charts. Now, ultimately, the charts are always changing. There's always something new and something different to put in. My suggestion is, if you do find things that you might research and want to add to the charts, feel free and add them to the charts. You won't be stepping on my toes, and I encourage you to use these charts in any way possible to help to find a health problem within somebody. All right, let's move on to the alphabet chart. Now we're going to talk specifically about this chart because this is the one chart that is specifically going to help in a lot of different ways. Now, the alphabet chart is a little bit tougher than using the other charts. Number one, because you are corresponding directly, fluidly with the energies that we're working with source energy. Now, it does take a little while to get the hang of how the alphabet charts work, because you need to learn how to correspond, of course, with source. So what I always tell people how to start first is to first of all make the intent for things to go a certain way. So now what you want to make an intent for is that your higher self is true, your source self or your soul is true, and that source within your answers is true. So simply saying higher self true, source self true, source true, and then go as far as love true, etc. Now you can also develop your own ways of making sure that things are connected properly. Answers true, riddles false, dowsing on the letter chart true, etc. So the more that you can think of that's going to help you to connect with source answers and getting answers with the letter chart is going to be beneficial. So ultimately, just like asking questions on the master charts and stressor charts, you're asking a question and getting an answer. So with the letter charts, you want to do the same thing. So the way that I always start off is by asking, what problem do I need to work on within this person? So here's an example. So now we go to the master chart. Okay, we ask a question, where's the lowest level of vitality? It tells me the nervous system. Then I ask, what is causing low levels of vitality in the nervous system? And it may say, let's say chart number 7, and it might say allergic reaction. Okay, that's just an example. So then it's kind of like, well, that is kind of broad. Well, it could mean a few different things. So then I would go to the letter chart and ask, concerning nervous system allergic reaction, I would ask, what problem do I need to work on within this person? And it'll start off by spelling out problem within her nervous system is allergic reaction to gluten or soy, something like that. So it's going to help to get you closer to the answer. It's going to work a little faster. And sometimes the master and stressor chart, when you're working together with that, it may give you an answer that's kind of, well, what the heck do they mean by that sort of thing. So the letter chart can really help to get you to another level, to explain something, to possibly explain an answer that was given to us so we can understand it. Because ultimately, if our subconscious understands what's going on, then we can have a better chance at doing the healing. Now, a lot of people, the biggest thing they say is that they get gibberish. It'll start to spell something out. It might spell out stress within, and then it'll start to spell out something that doesn't make any sense. Now, what you may want to do in this case, if you're getting a lot of gibberish, is to make the intent that when you're working with Source, you're working with Source only, or your higher self only. A lot of people will comment that they work with guides. Well, if you have, let's say, 5 guides within your consciousness, or your subconsciousness, they all may be trying to talk at once. There may be some that don't know the answer, but they want to be heard, so they're just spitting out answers. So ultimately, if we're doing things in a proper form to make sure that only one answer is coming from one source, that may take care of a lot of the gibberish. Okay. Now, if you are getting lots of gibberish, you just may need to go to a different set of charts, the master chart, the emotions chart, or something of that nature, or rephrase the question. Quite often we may have asked the wrong question. Ask the right question, get the right answer. So that basically is the alphabet chart. Now there are a lot of people who use it a little differently. I've shown you the way I use it. You yourself may develop your own way of using it and develop your own series of questions, etc. And you will begin to understand exactly what is sending you the answers, how these answers are being set, and how to use these answers. Quite often I'm using the letter chart and it'll say questions. So then it's telling me to go to the questions chart and so on. So I'm getting some really interesting direction with it. And you're going to also, what I suggest is don't give up on it. Keep on using it. The one way that I learned how to really use this chart and to know that the answers that were coming in were very legitimate is I started talking to the spirits of my family members who have passed away. So long story short, I wanted to talk to my grandfather on my mother's side. So I asked, may I please speak to Isaac Fair in spirit? And it started to spell out, I am Isaac Fair. I says, how are you, Grandpa? And he says, my afterlife is going very fine, thank you. And then it spelled out, by the way, I did not burn the house down. Okay, so what that told me is that only certain people know that back in the day, they had a little 2-room house where 12 people were living in on a country farm. The house burnt down, and a lot of people talked that my grandfather had burned the house down for the insurance money and so on. And I actually saw pictures of the house burning down on film. So that confirmed to me that it was a legitimate download, is a legitimate message. So try working with that. Try speaking to any spirits that have passed over. Make sure it's family members, because you don't want anybody coming in that's going to give you any trickery. And that is another good way to practice. Okay, talk with family members who have passed and that type of thing. You may want to talk to animals. Okay, if you have a dog or a cat, ask them how they're doing, and they may communicate with you through the letter chart. So there's some ways to practice with it. Once you get to know it and get to learn how to do it properly, it is going to facilitate you very, very well.